back at it. Finished putting in the bracing in the cab. You can see I got the cross brace there. Got the 2 cross braces going across. Back to the back corners of the cab. And I put another one across the back of the cab because when I cut the back of the cab off, I don't want the doors to fall in at all, or the door frame, sorry, to fall in when the back of the cab is cut off. So I did that. So that's where we're at. I got the, I got the structure all supported. It's only, I want to say, a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch square tubing. So it's a little flexible. I want to say it's 3/4 inch, but it's a little bit more flexible than I'd like it to be. But I think it'll hold it in place pretty well. I measured up the gaps between the floor, between that pillar and the cowl. I measured that distance on the other cab before the floor was cut out. So I kind of try to keep that distance the same when I did this. So now all that is done. Now it's on to this, drilling out the spot welds. So what I found is this little center punch does great for locating the center of the hole. But this little guy, this is what they spot weld drill bit, doesn't really like to stay in that little divot, so it wobbles and wanders. Had that problem. The first one just wobbles and was wandering all over the place. So what I do is I just mark the hole with the center punch, drill in a little bit with this little like 16-inch bit. Gets enough for that little thing to sit in. It won't wobble at all, and it drills out pretty nice. So this thing works pretty good. We'll see once I'm done with the whole firewall and the 2 cowls here, because I realized obviously once I'm done with this, I can just pretty much just cut this across, and I don't really need to do all the ones down the firewall, because obviously I'm not keeping the cowl and not keeping the firewall, so everything from here below is getting away. So I just need to drill this ones and this ones, these ones and these ones. Yeah, English is great today. So once I drill out those spot welds, yeah, the whole firewall and cowl can just get cut off. And like I don't know if you saw before, but it's not connected to the floor or obviously in a rocker panel there, and neither there. That little corner by the cowl and rocker panel is rusted out. So that actually the whole front of this cab could, the front lower half of the cab can go bye-bye today. And then tomorrow, I don't know, we'll see. Actually just might cut along that seam, like the door, or that's like what the seat lifting support. So I can cut that off and figure out, I'm gonna have to build a little frame to hold this up too. Once I cut this cowling off and the firewall off, this is gonna wanna go, because it's obviously not gonna be resting on the front cowls anymore. So I need to find a support frame for that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this welding support frame. Again, I am definitely not a welder. I really need to work on my welding skills. So if anybody's got any tips or tricks, welding from like an 1/8 inch square tubing to this whatever thickness 18 gauge steel body, I'm horrible at it. It's just booger welded together. So hopefully that's strong enough where that support frame's not gonna move or break, or none of the welds are gonna move. I might have to take some time out just to get some scrap steel here, which is I have some like 16 gauge, 18 gauge plate here. Just cut some sections off, and then some sections of the tubing. I got like a little bit of leftover scrap here. Just take some of these sections of tubing, cut some up, and just sit there and practice welding, because when it comes to putting this repair panel back on, my welding, I don't know if it's going to be good enough. It's going to be, I've seen some really bad welding jobs, and I do not want to be one of those guys that like people sit there and look at this job and say, whoa, who welded this together? Because it looks like it's bubblegum put together. So, all right. Anyhow, enough of me babbling. That's the support cage, or frame, whatever, into the cab. Now on to the firewall. Catch you guys later. And we're back. Firewall and most of the floor is gone. Cut out and piled up right here. You can tell the floor was pretty rusty, but kind of mangled up the mounts, drilling out all the spot welds and trying to separate it from the firewall. So a couple of them got pretty mangled up. So I'm gonna have to figure something out there. And then, now, look at this. That's the new panel. It's gonna go there somehow. And like I said, I cut the A-pillar up just enough that when I go to put this back in, I'm gonna have a little bit of space, but yeah, it's gonna go in there just like that. Somehow I'm not a welder, so that's gonna be fun. So that's the next step, I believe, is to get these things measured in and put down and welded on and clean up this nice little ugly boogered up drilled out spot weld seam. And it's not horrible, but again, it's under the hood, and I don't know, I might need it for when I mount it to the Explorer chassis somewhere under the 51 cab. So there you go. Firewall, dash, floor out, support frame in. So yeah, next step is get those cowls on. I actually might put a brace across the bottom of the cowls from somehow to keep the cowls from flapping around until I put them on the cab or on the Explorer chassis. Not quite sure yet, but there we go. That's it. That was my objective today, and got it done. Now we just gotta cut up all this steel and get rid of it along with that gas tank. Keeping the dash, my uncle says he's got a buddy who's building a hot rod that's looking for a dash. So this one's pretty good. I mean, I don't know what size the dash is made. I just got a couple, somebody put a couple nicks right where that speaker was, so I cut into it. I don't know what they're doing. But anyhow, other than that, the dash is pretty clean, pretty straight. And yeah, the cab is getting torn apart nicely. That's it for now, guys. This weekend is figuring out how to spot weld these cowls. I'll actually cut the rest of that crap off. Cut all that off so then I can get the new cowls in here. And then I'm gonna have to either, I'm not sure if I'm gonna cut this little corner off the dash and put it back here, or if I'm just gonna buy some like 18 or 20 gauge steel and see if I can form it to fit there. But that's gonna be interesting. It's got a curve to it. It's got double bend, so that's another issue I'm gonna have to work on. So, all right, that's it for me tonight. Again, it's Thursday, the 25th of February, so this month is going by fast.